Hey everyone, welcome to another edition of PowerCore Productions and Podcastings. And in today's video, we're going to be continuing What If Naruto Was a Hyuga, Naruto Moonlight Part 2. Remember, if you like this video, then don't forget to give it a like, comment, subscribe, share, and hit that bell for post notifications so you can stay up to date on everything that is PowerCore Productions and Podcastings that has to come out now and in the future. Also, if you haven't, make sure you check out the previous part so you can be caught up on everything as we get into today's video. Without further ado, let us begin. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Naruto and Hinata would sit in class with everyone else, as Hyuga would announce the official Genin squads following the graduation exam. Of course, Naruto and Hinata had hoped that they would be on the same team, and to their surprise they would be. However, what also came as a surprise, but probably shouldn't have been, was seeing who their third teammate wound up being. Team 7, Naruto Hyuga, Hinata Hyuga, and Sasuke Uchiha. Team 8, Sakura Haruno, Kiba Inuzuka, Shino Aburame. And Team 10, Shikamaru Nara, Choji Akamichi, and Ino Yamanaka. The reason for Team 7's pairing was pretty obvious from the get-go. All three members of the team had a dojutsu, and their captain was going to be someone who specialized in that area. Granted, he didn't have a Byakugan, but it would work in principle. On top of that, Sasuke would be the last of the Uchiha, and Hinata was the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki. And Naruto was showing to be a prodigy in his own right, and he was the son of the mentor of their current team. So it simply just made sense that they would all end up being together. Of course, as Team 7 would wait for their master to arrive, there was an awkward silence amongst them. Not one of malice, as they all knew each other rather well. The rivalry between both Naruto and Sasuke was very prudent throughout the class, and everyone was always aware of it. The Hyuga and the Uchiha. From an early age, Naruto held the advantage when it came to their sparring, mainly due to the fact that he was able to unlock his Byakugan. This, however, did awaken in Sasuke a form of rivalry among the two. For as powerful as Naruto got, Sasuke always seemed to be able to match and be on pace with him, even going as far as to unlock his one Tomoe Sharingan and be able to do so at will. It was usually at this point where the battles would continue on, although slightly in Sasuke's favor. However, Naruto was never too far behind. They were neck and neck, although in terms of overall skill and ability, Sasuke held a small edge that Naruto was hoping to overtake at some point. And as for Hinata, while she had her own struggles, she definitely showed her own potential. Thankfully, she also had access to the Byakugan and the skills in the Gentle Fist, making her a deadly threat. And out of all three, she had the most stamina and chakra reserves of the two. When Kakashi finally arrived, seeing his team sitting there, his first thought was they were rather dull. Although he was happy to see that they weren't at each other's throats, from what he could hear from his companions and how their teams were turning out. Team 7 would meet on the rooftop, where they would go through their proper introductions. For Naruto, his introduction would be different, obviously. He didn't really have a love for ramen, although he enjoyed it from time to time. The reason being was that Naruto had grown up in the Hyuga clan. This meant he had family and people who would love and take care of him, so he didn't have to rely on just eating ramen. or eating other junk food. It also meant that the boy wasn't malnourished, so he was just as tall as Sasuke, and he had a good diet. As for Hinata, while she did have her struggles, it was thanks to being a part of the Hyuga clan that kept her from dealing with any of the true brunt of being the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki. At most, she would get a few looks here and there, and maybe a few whispers. However, anything major was usually squashed really quickly, her father seeing to it that the village would not mistreat his daughter in any way, shape, and form. As for Sasuke, his goals and ideals still stayed the same. Nothing in that regard changed there, although he did acknowledge Naruto as his primary rival. From there, the meeting would still go about as the same as before, with Kakashi instructing them to meet at the training grounds early in the morning and to make sure that they didn't eat breakfast, assuring them that if they did, they'd only end up throwing up. Unfortunately, the children would still take their master's advice, not seeing the deception that was lied within, as when they arrived early for no reason, as Kakashi ended up being 3 hours late. And once they learned what they were going to be doing, they realized they should have eaten something when they had the chance. They were going to be doing the bell test, the same objective as in the original. To take the 2 bells from Kakashi before the time ran out in the afternoon. The loser that didn't get any bells wouldn't be able to get any lunch, and if no one got a bell, then none of them would pass, and everyone would be sent back to the academy. Of course, this was just a ploy by Kakashi to try to get them to understand the value of teamwork, and that was easier said than done, as Naruto and Sasuke would still foolishly try to go after Kakashi. However, because they would be slightly stronger than they were in the original timeline, with a vast set of different skills in one particular case, Kakashi couldn't afford to just not take them seriously at all. No, trying to fight while reading his book was a short-lived ideal, as he was forced to put it away and deal with the 2 boys, the wielder of the Sharingan and the wielder of the Byakugan as expected. Of course, Hinata, much to her credit, did not try to get involved right off the get-go. Rather, she chose to stay back, to wait, and to plan out her next move, regrouping and helping Naruto as he had gotten caught in the trap. Hinata made it pretty clear they were going to have to work together as a team. For Naruto, he didn't mind this at all, since he and Hinata had grown up together. They were the best of siblings and of friends, 2 peas in a pod, if you will. Because of that, the concept of teamwork was not foreign to them, and they were more than willing to work together. It was when Hinata suggested that they bring Sasuke along that Naruto had some issue. It wasn't that he had anything against the Uchiha personally, but it more so came from the fact that Sasuke was just a natural loner. He wasn't the kind of person that wanted to work with anyone else, and Naruto, much to his credit, wasn't the type of person that was going to force someone to do something that they didn't want to do. He believed that the 2 of them could work together just fine. However, Hinata would point out that if they didn't work together, then one of them wasn't going to pass. To which Naruto would reiterate that even if they did, then one of them weren't going to pass anyway, since there were only 2 bells. Hinata would have to think this over. Naruto was right. There were only 2 bells. In the end, only 2 of them would be able to pass. She and Naruto already worked well enough together, but at the same time, Hinata's good nature didn't want her to leave Sasuke out. She decided she still wanted to work with Sasuke, believing that they could just figure something else out when the time came. Naruto didn't really agree with it, but he didn't want to go against Hinata's plan. So the 2 of them would go to Sasuke and try to get him involved. Just like Naruto expected, Sasuke would have preferred to work alone, but Hinata explained that working alone wasn't going to get him anywhere. They were going to have to work together, and when it was all said and done, they could find a way to deal with the Bell situation. At worst, one of them would just have to stay back a year. Sasuke thought this over, and after seeing no choice, he would agree. With the three now getting on the same page, they would attempt to work together to take the bells, all of them working in cohesion. Kakashi would definitely be impressed with their teamwork, and would definitely have to stay on guard at all times, with Hinata and Naruto using their gentle fists, making them deadly and needing to be avoided, and Sasuke countering with his Sharingan and using his ninjutsu. Ultimately, they would manage to get one bell from Kakashi before the timer went off, and all three were exhausted. Even Kakashi was a bit winded, and he had no use of his left arm. They had struck him so many times they managed to shut down some of his chakra points. He had to willfully try to force them back open, which, even though he wouldn't show it through his expression on his face, it definitely hurt. All the same, Kakashi commended them for their efforts, and would assure them that they would all pass. Of course, they weren't entirely sure how that could be until Kakashi explained the essence of teamwork and the true meaning behind the bell test. Much to everyone's grateful and thanks, they had managed to succeed, and now all three of them could move on officially as Genin. From here, the story would progress as normal, but also in a different way. Unlike in the original timeline with the original Team 7, this Team 7 was a lot more motivated. They were a lot more eager to learn and willing to put in the work, which means Kakashi couldn't half-ass their training. And with the pressure from the Hyuga clan to make sure that Hinata and Naruto would excel, he had to actually show results, meaning he couldn't half-ass it. And there was Sasuke, who didn't want to be left behind, which meant that they all had to be pushed to their paces. This means that in the 1 month before their first mission, they would do tree climbing, and would actually get the mastery over it before the event of the Land of Waves. By the time the Land of Waves does come, Team 7 would feel as though they want to do something a bit more experienced, not wanting to just waste away doing D-ranks. Hinata would be the most tactful when asking Kakashi if they could possibly do something else. Even she had to admit that she was getting pretty bored with just doing these simple D-ranks around the village, and she wanted to try to show what she could do in a different capacity. Being much more respectful this time around, they would bring up the suggestion to the third Hokage, who would suggest to them to go to the Land of Waves and escort the bridge builder, Tazuna, and to guard him while he finished building his bridge. Tazuna would be a lot more respectful to Team 7, as they actually carried themselves in a respectable and serious manner and didn't come off like a bunch of goofy kids, although he was still willing to make a sly remark from time to time. From here, Team 7 would begin their trip in their mission to the Land of Waves. When the group is attacked by the Demon Brothers, both Sasuke and Naruto would be able to perceive and take them down without any real fuss at all, with Kakashi being very impressed by their skills. He didn't even have to use the substitution jutsu when it would have seemed like he was caught, because Naruto and Sasuke would have been too perceptive to allow that to happen in the first place, although Tazuna is revealed to have lied to them about the seriousness of the mission. From here, the story would progress much of the same, until they eventually reached a point in the forest where a thick mist would roll in, and Team 7 would find themselves going one-on-one against Zabuza, the demon of the hidden mist, an ex-ninja now turned bounty hunter who was wanted. Kakashi would still be trapped by Zabuza within the water prison, leaving Team 7 to deal with Zabuza and his water clone. However, because this version of Team 7 would be stronger, dispatching of the water clone would be much easier and much to Zabuza's surprise, with Naruto, Hinata, and Sasuke managing to get in some decent strikes against Zabuza, who would have his hands full while trying to keep Kakashi in the water prison. Due to Naruto and Hinata's skills with the Gentle Fist, they would actually manage to strike Zabuza in a few of his chakra points, shutting down his usage of chakra and forcing him to fight through the pain. This, however, would result in Kakashi being freed. Once this takes place, Kakashi would still make short work of Zabuza, not leaving much else to chance, and forcing Haku to step in even faster. However, because of Naruto and Hinata using the Byakugan, they were able to perceive that someone had been watching and waiting the whole time. Because of this, Haku is pointed out for not really being a tracker ninja, and using the Byakugan, both Naruto and Hinata are able to see under the mask, knowing exactly who Haku is. This would force Haku to have to grab Zabuza and retreat a lot sooner, now with their cover being blown and with the team expecting them to make a comeback. Thankfully, Kakashi would not have to use too much of his chakra when fighting against Zabuza, although he would still be bedridden for some time, recovering from his overusage of using the Sharingan. However, once he's recovered, the team would have to look to try to advance their skills any way that they could. They would already have tree climbing under their belt, so the next best thing would be water walking, which would actually be an effective place for training since they would be where Tazuna would be working on the bridge. So they could practice their water walking underneath the bridge itself, and they could do guard duty at the same time. This would allow Team 7 to focus their strengths in getting stronger, much stronger than in the original story, with Hinata improving her chakra control to an even greater degree, and with Naruto and Sasuke looking to take their skills to the next level as well. By the time Zabuza would return along with Haku at the bridge, things would be a lot different here. However, because of Team 7's overall training and their methods, it would mean that no one would be home with Tazuna's family, that being with his grandson Inari and his daughter Tsunami, when Gato's men looked to take the daughter hostage. Zabuza and Haku would confront Team 7 once again, and the rematch would resume. Zabuza would once again find himself matched against Kakashi, the two older shinobi holding each other to a stalemate, while Haku would have his hands full against both Sasuke and Naruto. This version of Sasuke would be far more improved than in the original timeline, and having a bit more strength, speed, and overall skill, while this version of Naruto's arsenal would be a lot more different. Not so much focused on using shadow clones, as he wouldn't have a need to, but instead using the gentle fist technique along with the rotation, as well as having the Byakugan, with both Naruto and Sasuke standing back to back. Even once they're caught inside of the crystal ice mirror jutsu, they would be able to cover each other's blind spots and protect one another while facing off against the ice user. Haku, having to deal encounter against the Byakugan and the Sharingan, would find himself being overwhelmed to the point where he would end up getting tagged a few times. While Haku would still hold the slight edge when it came to his overall speed, Naruto would be looking to press the advancement, catching him in the leg a few times, causing him to slow down just enough for Sasuke to catch him with the Fireball Jutsu. Once Haku was slowed, Naruto would continue the assault with his taijutsu skill, while Sasuke would bring up the rear, attacking wherever he could find an opening. Once Zabuza finds himself in the clutches of Kakashi, and with both sides seemingly not wanting to give up an inch, Gato and his men would make their move. Gato being the first one to call out Zabuza for his patheticness and not being able to deal with a ragtag team of ninja. Also, to make matters worse, on the very same bridge, Gato would be holding both Inari and Inari's mother hostage, with Tazuna being fearful for their lives. Seeing the betrayal taking place, the two teams would stop fighting, realizing now that they shared in one common enemy. Of course, no one can make a sudden move. After all, if they did so, then it would only result in more death, more unnecessary death. That is until when Naruto would come up with an idea. Using his Byakugan, he was able to be a bit more perceptive when it came to Haku and how he fought. Despite seemingly going all out against both he and Sasuke, the truth of the matter was that Haku still held enough of an advantage, If he wanted to go for the kill and take them out, then he should have done so a long time ago. But the fact that he hadn't could only mean one thing. Haku had been holding back. He was careful with how he fought with Sinbon, and this was very much evident. Because of that fact, Naruto and Haku would seemingly come up with a plan on the fly, with Naruto offering himself in exchange for Inari. Naruto would walk to the side of the bridge, standing on the ledge and telling Haku to finish him. He would yell to Gato that if he did so, then he should at least let the sun go. Gato would agree if this could pick off the shinobi one by one, forcing them to off themselves. Everyone would beg Naruto to stop, but Naruto would tell them to trust him, before looking to Haku and giving him a nod. Haku would throw a series of Sinbon into Naruto's chest, causing him to fall over the ledge and plummet straight into the water. Gato's men would look over to make sure the boy had drowned, and after seeing the bubbles coming to the surface, and with no one else coming back up, and with the small trickles of blood that was pouring out not too long after, it looked like the boy had died. Kakashi, Hinata, and Sasuke would be horrified at this. Sasuke, not being in on the plan, could feel his eyes beginning to sting and burn with anger, as his one Tomoe Sharingan now morphed into the two Tomoe. And as for Hinata, she could feel a strong surge of rage and anger bellowing within her. Hinata was more emotional than perceptive, even compared to Naruto. Thinking that her beloved brother had died, it caused the nine-tailed fox's chakra to stir within, forcing it onto the surface. However, what they didn't expect was that Naruto would appear behind Gato's men. Naruto dashing in quickly, subduing many of the foes around, before grabbing both of Inari and his mother and mulling them out of the way. It had been a ruse that had seemingly managed to work. Once the mother and son had been removed safely, Naruto would tell them to go all out, and the shinobi on the bridge would do so. Zabuza and Haku cutting down Gato's thugs, with Sasuke, Kakashi, and Hinata helping out and assisting as well. Gato wouldn't have anywhere to escape, as Sinbon from the left and the Executioner's blade from the right would pierce and cleave him into pieces as he went falling into the waters, facing his ultimate demise. With that, Gato, his criminal organization, all of it would come crashing down, with Team 7 relieved that Naruto was safe, and Naruto thanking Haku, knowing that he could trust him ultimately in the end. However, things were not all that smoothed over just yet. Zabuza was still a bit on edge. What was he going to do now? These shinobi weren't his enemies, but they weren't his allies either. Outside of Haku, he didn't have anyone, and they couldn't go back to the mist, seeming everything that happened so far. They could try hiding out for a bit, although there was no telling how far that would get them. That was until Kakashi would make a suggestion, asking if both Haku and Zabuza would want to return back to the Leaf with them. If they really had nowhere else to go, then the Leaf could offer them asylum. It was safe, protection from the mist, and they could start a new life there. Zabuza wasn't sure for a moment until Naruto would nudge him over, telling him that it would be a good idea. After all, what did he have to lose? Zabuza would think to himself, before looking and asking Haku what he wanted to do. Haku had never had a choice in any of these matters. Haku had always thought that his only purpose in life was to follow Master Zabuza, to make his dream a reality. That was his only dream. But no, now Zabuza was giving the boy a choice. The choice to do what he wanted. If he wanted to go to the Leaf, they could go to the Leaf. If he wanted to do something else, then he'd respect that decision. Haku would think it over, and feeling as though the Leaf was a place that could be for them, they would decide that they would take Team 7 up on their offer, and they would join the Hidden Leaf Village. Being pleased with this outcome, Kakashi would send word ahead as to the details of what had happened, as showing up to the Leaf with a rogue ninja was definitely going to raise some suspicion. After all, it was typically expected for rogue ninja to be taken out when given the opportunity, although in the past special provisions could be made when the situation called for it. With that, Team 7, along with Zabuza and Haku, would wait until the bridge had been completely built. Afterwards, they would say their goodbyes as they made their way back to the Hidden Leaf. By the time they had arrived, guards would be waiting, already ready to escort Haku and Zabuza to a holding cell where they'd have to wait for some time as things were still being processed. The third Hokage had to think over this decision. Would he allow these two to join the Hidden Leaf? A former member of the Seven Swordsmen of the Mist who wielded the Executioner's blade, along with a young and promising ninja who possessed a rare Kekkei Genkai in Ice Release. These were two valuable assets that the Hidden Leaf could not afford to waste, and seeing it as an opportunity to build up their ranks and build their bonds, the third Hokage would agree, and he would see over the process of them being made Konoha citizens. With that, Zabuza and Haku would say their see you laters for now, as they knew they'd be running into Team 7 again. And with that, Team 7's journey in the Land of Waves would be brought to a close, with them coming out of it stronger and for the better, ready to face the new challenges that would be on the horizon. Well, that's going to do it for the end of today's video of What If Naruto Was a Hyuga Part 2. Stay tuned tomorrow as we're going to be having another doubleheader. As one series draws to a close, another one continues on into its next phase. But anyway, that's going to do it for the end of today's video. I'm Javon Harrington with PowerCore Productions and Podcastings. Signing off, and I'll see you next time.